Hello and welcome to another Saasu training video. In this video, I'll be covering off how to add a new employee to your payroll if you are on the medium and large plan and have access to this feature. Firstly, navigate to the employees list. So from your main menu, click on View and click on Employees under Payroll. Now you can click on the Add button to create a new employee. So fill in the details of this form. As you work your way through this form, note that the first name and last name needs to be completed, as well as the email address. Now this email address needs to be the same email for when Claire signs into Saasu, and especially if she does have to enter her timesheets, this has to be the same email address as her login. Continue down the form. When you reach the Assign to Pay Run section, you may or may not have a group, so you can currently leave this blank and then we can come back to set up Pay Run a bit later. After you have completed the information for Claire, you can move on to the employment details. Now, with agreement and employee classifications, you may have existing agreements if you have previously added employees. Otherwise, if it's a brand new employee, you will need to create an agreement. But before you do so, make sure you save this form first. Otherwise, you will lose the information that has already been entered. So we scroll down and we click Save. This is fine as we're using a test TFN. So I'll just continue. The next confirmation is saying the default pay is not specified, which is fine. We'll just OK that and we'll be able to add the default pay later on. Okay, now that the page has been set up, we can go ahead and set up an agreement. So as you can see here, there's nothing. If we click on this tool icon, that will take us to the agreement page. And here we can add a registered agreement. So we can give it a name. And here is where you can adjust the name if you need to. Okay, so we'll save and close out of there. And we will need to navigate back to the employees list. So we'll click View Employees again. And we'll see that Claire Jones exists as an employee. Now, as we haven't yet completed editing Claire's card, we will click on the pencil icon to go into the edit section, and we will select the employment agreement for Claire. Likewise, employee classification is empty, so to create one, let's save first. And these are the same dialogues. Okay, and we'll click on the tool icon. And again, we can create employee classification. So let's give it a name. And I'm going to hit Save and Close. And that will just take me back to the list. So you could, in this stage, create all your classifications in one go, or you can create them as you add the employees. So I'll just go back to the employees page again. Okay, and select the role Claire is hired to do. And we'll just work down this list. Okay, so here, when you select either salary or hourly, it will affect the annual gross pay figures, but it will also request that you fill in an hourly rate. Now, if you selected salary, it will not allow you to edit the hourly rate and instead give you the ability to put in an annual gross pay. So it has to be either one or the other. In this instance for Claire, we're going to choose hourly and we're going to put in her hourly rate. And the pay period, and obviously this is something you should consult with your business and your accountant and select the appropriate pay period. Now, pay period other could mean it's for a casual or for a contract staff. But for Claire's example, let's choose monthly as her pay period, so that we pay her on a monthly basis. And the hours per pay period is dependent on how many hours Claire has been assigned to do. So the standard hours that we tend to use is this. Okay, so everything's fairly straightforward. We will auto-calculate tax and we will select as the tax-free threshold, which is number 2. And if Claire has other additional taxes, we'll fill in those details here. For example, if she has HEX debt or not. In this instance, we shall just leave this unticked. Now, Claire's start date, we will make it to be, say, the beginning of November. And we'll select the first Monday of November and we'll hit save. Okay, once this form has been completed, we'll do a recap. So in here, make sure the email address for Claire is the same one that she uses to log into Saasu to input her timesheet if she is required to do so. If she isn't required to input timesheets, then you can put in a personal email address at Claire's preference. Then make sure that the TFN, the tax file number for Claire, has been entered, and make sure that we have her bank account details, and make sure that active has been ticked. Okay, so this has been complete, and you will notice as soon as employment details has been selected, we can see 2 tabs here, default pay and entitlements. So let's click into default pay. In this screen, you have the opportunity to set up a default pay for Claire and to use this as a template for all future pays, whether you're using a pay run or whether your preference is to create individual pay slips. Pay run and pay slips will be covered off in another video, so stay tuned for that. Okay, firstly, we need to create the default pay for Claire. And in order to do so, we will create a wages and salaries item by clicking on the plus. And this gives us an opportunity to select the type of pay we want to assign. And it's generally base pay hourly or base pay hourly from timesheet if you want Claire to sign in and enter in her timesheet. At this stage, let's choose the base pay hourly as we will be processing Claire's hours for her. So we'll select base pay hourly and you will see that automatically the taxable and auto calc has been switched on and the hours are blank. You can leave the hours field blank if you wish to manually enter her hours on a manual basis when you create a payslip. Or alternatively, you can pre-fill this field and only change it when necessary. So I'm going to do that. So put in the hours based on her monthly pay period and we'll work down the list. So Claire doesn't yet have any deductions, so we can leave that blank. If Claire had deductions, Saasu currently have salary sacrifice and union fees as the default, but you can also add to this list, and that would be part of the Manage Pay Items tutorial, which is coming up. So stay tuned for that one. Okay, so let's get rid of that row. Now, tax withheld, as you can see, it doesn't actually give you an option to add because, as you can read, it will be created automatically as you have selected Auto Calculate Tax. And here is where you have ticked that this transaction is taxable and that it will auto-calculate. Okay, moving down the list, employer contributions such as SGC, super will be added in, and we can also select to auto-calc. That will auto-calculate the superannuation percentage based on the number of hours that Claire has worked in this pay period, according to the ATO rates, which we will update for you on a regular basis, and we will automatically apply this to your file. Okay, now the very last section is entitlements. So this is where we will show Claire's sick leave as well as annual leave balances, as well as the accrual of sick leave and annual leave. So for Claire, there is the standard sick days and annual leave days per year. So we will add in 2 rows, so we can click that twice, and that will give us the option to select annual holiday leave and personal sick leave. So as you can see, Saasu has automatically ticked AutoCalc for you here. Okay, so once you're happy with this, click Save. That's fine. And you will see in this confirmation field up here that the employee was saved successfully. Now, you'll notice there's an Entitlements tab. If we click on it, you'll see that no items were found. This is the section where you would look at Claire's accrued number of hours. And currently it is blank, as we have yet to process a pay for Claire. And as soon as we have processed it, we can come back here and look at the balances outstanding.